Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Today I want to talk specifically to all those yoga students who may have never met Yogi Bhajan in person. Now, what I'm going to talk about today has really been brushed under the rug about Yogi Bhajan's abuse and in some cases even rape of his students. This is a very disturbing subject, which I know many of you will be very hesitant to visit. But I think it is very necessary to investigate these allegations. I was with Yogi Bhajan, personal contact with him for many years, over a period of 30 years or so. And I witnessed a lot of disturbing things as well. And now that I have left the 3HO group, I've been reflecting back on these experiences and my interactions with Yogi Bhajan. And a lot of these accusations make sense. Now, many of the 3HO people will say that they're just disgruntled students. And this may be an argument if there was just maybe, one or two allegations. But there are just many. I've been reading numerous accounts of how Yogi Bhajan would take young women in their teens under his wing, and he would groom them for these sexual pleasures that he wanted. I've done a lot of investigation about Yogi Bhajan's habits and about his background and history. And I'm very sad to say that these allegations make a lot of sense. Now, what motivated me today to speak specifically about these allegations was the real hypocrisy that SikhNet, which is the largest Sikh website on the internet, has come out encouraging people who have had sexual abuse done to them to come out and to talk about these issues. Now, I definitely encourage people to talk about the sexual abuse they went through. I think it's something that we all need to face. But the hypocrisy of SikhNet is just glaring. How they can talk about coming out about these things when Yogi Bhajan himself, their acknowledged master or spiritual teacher, is accused of just multiple abuses and even rape. So SikhNet, these other Yogi Bhajan organizations, need to face this. They can't hide behind Yogi Bhajan's cult personality. It's coming out more and more and more. This is the reality now. With this exposure of truth, it will never be hidden. And it's just going to be coming out more and more and more. Now, like I said, I've done a lot of investigation into Yogi Bhajan's past. I have talked to numerous former followers and talked to them specifically about their experiences. the specifics that they have talked about in their interviews and in their accounts is just too much to be just a made-up story, if you will. Now, my personal experience with Yogi Bhajan that showed me that these accounts have validity, these accounts of rape and abuse, are one, Yogi Bhajan did these really phallic drawings. And you can see them here in this video I'm showing them. You know, it's really weird for a spiritual teacher to do this kind of stuff, where he talks about power and he's got a big drawing of a penis. It's just not normal for a spiritual teacher to do this kind of stuff. I can also tell you that Yogi Bhajan had me buy sea cucumbers when I was on duty with him in LA. This was back in the 1980s, which is for sexual enhancement, and it's supposed to be for virility. He had me buy these things. Also, during the Premka lawsuit, where Premka was the lead secretary of Yogi Bhajan, sued him for rape and other abuses, Yogi Bhajan refused to give his deposition. Now, you may have seen lately how Bill Cosby now is being forced to give his deposition in this case where he's been accused of attacking these ladies. Now, this is the kind of thing that Yogi Bhajan would not do. He would get an excuse from his Khalsa doctors, and I was on security, so I know that he could have gone to these depositions. This was in Los Angeles around this time, 1985, 86. So he could have gone to these depositions because we went to La Scala every day, we ate lunch there, and spent thousands of dollars on lunch, and went to these Beverly Hills jewelry shops. And so I know that Yogi Bhajan could have gone to these depositions, and he could have told the truth. So the question I have, and that I think that you should ask, is why wasn't Yogi Bhajan willing to give his deposition and to tell the truth when he had this opportunity to tell the truth about what happened between him and Premka? Kate was also involved in this lawsuit, and I'll read an interview with this Kate, who also accused Yogi Bhajan of rape. The accounts are just numerous. You can visit this website, Wacko World of Yogi Bhajan, where many of these people have posted accounts of abuse and even rape that Yogi Bhajan did against them. And just read for yourself the detail there. And like I said, the multiple accounts. SeekNet and these organizations need to have some kind of forum where they bring these former followers in and have them talk about these issues in a very comfortable environment where they can feel comfortable about talking about these things. Get it out in the open and not hide it. SeekNet and these other organizations of Yogi Bhajans have signed on to agreements in court where they can't criticize Yogi Bhajan, and they censor everything that is posted that criticizes Yogi Bhajan and his practices. I'm telling you that this will bring 3HO down if they don't talk about these issues from the past. When you build an organization on abuse and lies, it will eventually fall. There's no question about it. So let me read an account here from this Kate. And I'll just read part of it here because we don't have time to read the whole thing. But I'll put the account there in the description to this video. And you can read the whole thing yourself. So this is where, after she'd been with Yogi Bhajan for a while, she says here, anyway, why be Yogi Bhajan? Using the friendship, closeness, and trust that I had in him as my spiritual teacher, and that I had in my sister, it had it all arranged at the ashram in Florida. There was his usual close group around him. We were all watching TV in his room, where my sister and he were staying. They had been there about 5 days. The show ended and we all got up to leave, and my sister said, no, I want to talk to you. And I said, it's late, can we do it in the morning? Went back and forth, and anyway, I stayed thinking she really needed to discuss something with me. At that time, I had no idea that YB was sleeping with all these women. I knew what sex was and everything. I mean, I see it on TV or inference of it. But I had no idea he would do anything like that, because I really did see him as a messenger of God. He was the herald of the Sikh faith. That is just what I believed. Maybe it was obvious to other adults, but to me it wasn't. So her account is true. I can testify that Yogi Bhajan slept in the same room with multiple women, secretaries. And he did not sleep with his wife. I can personally testify that Yogi Bhajan's wife, this Indrajit Karpuri, went to see a doctor in LA at the ashram there, an Ayurvedic doctor that came from India. So I was the next patient after. When she came out and I went to see the doctor, the doctor told me that Yogi Bhajan's wife was complaining that Yogi Bhajan was not sleeping with her, and that she was really distressed by this whole situation, that Yogi Bhajan was not sleeping in the same house or in the same room with her. So I know that is a fact. And then also I was on security. And I know that I saw women come and go from his apartments in the back at the 1620 Pruce Road, where he had a room in there in the back. So I know this happened. And it's general knowledge also. There was an account that I received from a Sikh in India where Yogi Bhajan was there. And his relative went to see Yogi Bhajan, and he was just completely very alarmed by the fact that Yogi Bhajan had, as he said, 15 women around him, massaging his feet. So this is general knowledge, that Yogi Bhajan had all these women around him and slept in the same room with them. Anyway, let's get back to Kate's story here. As soon as everyone else left the room, my sister locked the door. Yogi Bhajan announced he was going to have sex with me, and I said, no, I don't want to. I want to get out of here. And I started crying. He just grabbed me. My sister was in the room the whole time. Anyway, he proceeded to rape me, and I suffered. I tried to struggle a lot. He hit me and held me down my hair when I started to resist through my voice. Bit my tongue and my lip, which people noticed for several weeks afterwards. They were asking, what happened to me? YB did tell some people that he had hit me, and that's why my lip was cut. Now, I also saw Yogi Bhajan hit people. And so Kate's accounts do not sound unreasonable to me from what my experience was with Yogi Bhajan directly. Yogi Bhajan was a brute. There's no question about it. And again, Kate goes into such detail, it's hard to really dismiss her accounts. And I also encourage you to read these accounts on this Wacko World of Yogi Bhajan from other women who talk about these things. The detail is really telling. Gratefully, it didn't last long. I mean, he just got in and out. And this is exactly the same description that Premka talks about with her experience with Yogi Bhajan. So it's not unlike other people's accounts. She goes on to say, a huge puddle of blood. He and Guru Amrit were in a dizzy about it because it was on the bed cover. Guru Amrit sneaked down to the basement and got some bleach. I don't know if they ever got it out or what. But YB was freaked out that the head of the ashram there, Swarnkar, would notice it. So she says here, or Kate says here, a lot more beatings, a lot more bloody noses. I'd get headaches from when he'd hit me in the head so many times, and doing rectal intercourse and having other people hold me down. That sort of thing, but it wasn't as frequent, because I know he had a hard time even looking at me. He would say that all the time. But Yogi Bhajan was obsessed with me. I had a private investigator. He had a private investigator hired on me. And then someone in this interview says, Stephen, someone from the organization. Kate says, no, a regular American private investigator, also in the organization. I had a security guard on me 24 hours. YB told me that he hired the investigator, but I didn't believe him. He said he had spent $19,000 on one of them. I just thought that he was bragging or whatever, but that he told me some of the things I had done, which he only would have known if he had someone watching me. You know, like I went to the store on such and such a day. I did this and that, so I knew someone was watching me. YB also threatened other people in his organization if they left. I know, I was one of them. He would always tell us, you'll lose your soul if you leave 3HO, if you leave me. Yogi Bhajan was a complete psychopath. Believe me, I've studied him, and I know that he was capable of these type of abuses. You can read in my book, Confessions of an American Sikh, about some of the other stories there and other accounts that I give with Yogi Bhajan. How he would manipulate people, he would threaten them. This Anshuman Vikram Singh has just come out recently and said that when he left Yogi Bhajan threatened to spend $500,000 to destroy him, as he says. So this was not uncommon for Yogi Bhajan to threaten people and to track them. It was general knowledge in 3HO that people who left would be cursed. In fact, when I started criticizing Yogi Bhajan, the people there told me that Yogi Bhajan was angry at me and that I was completely ostracized. Now, again, the Yogi Bhajan organizations need to wake up to this. They need to come forward and invite people to come forward with these stories. They need to confront this fact that Yogi Bhajan abused his students. Now, I also want to bring up something about how Yogi Bhajan's teachings are corrupted as well, in my opinion. You always have to look at that saying about how bad seed will create bad fruit. And that's my thinking about Yogi Bhajan's Tantric and Kundalini Yoga. It's been shown now in an academic study by Philip Deslepi, who researched this and did a lot of research on this, how Yogi Bhajan made up his practices. And Yogi Bhajan always told us, that his practices came from the Sikh religion. Well, these were lies, complete lies, and it's been shown in this academic study. There's also a great article, the Sikh Free Press, American Yogis Distort Sikh Scriptures. I encourage all of you to read that. So really think about the long-term effects of Yogi Bhajan's corrupt tantric yoga. Thank you for your time. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.